Why do some people hate clean code? It just means making readable and consistent coding practices, right? What's so bad about that? No. Clean code is a dog whistle for over-engineered bullcrap. Just joking. Let's see what the comments say. Because other people use it as dogma. Dogma is a great word. Let's define it. I think dogma is like propaganda, isn't it? Similar. Doctrine, tenet. That which is held in an opinion, a principle or statement of ideas, a doctrine of corpus. Like any other resource, it's a collection of tools that should be used when appropriate. Sometimes overly clean code runs the risk of losing context. Absolutely. All of a sudden, the parameter you need to understand was validated a level up and 3 modules over from where it's actually used. Honestly, I run into this all the time. You know, maybe I'm just stupid. It could be. I could just be dumb. But I like code to be focused on the developer experience. Unless you're working on like mission critical code, I don't think making like the perfect sort of, I don't know. Sometimes perfectly well written code is just annoying to debug, you know? Especially when you've got like a bunch of recursive functions interacting with each other and a bunch of different things that you're actually trying to render on your page are using those things. It makes debugging an absolute nightmare. On top of that, you add like this hyper level of genericness, and it just becomes impossible to understand and debug anything. I hate it. I like my code to be simple and to be focused on the developer experience. That's what I like. Unless you hit an actual constraint. Anyway, I remember I went on a bit of a rant there. Hopefully it was coherent. By the way, if you like these kinds of videos, please leave a like and subscribe for more of this stuff. I remember being clean code scolded once, way back when I had about as many comment lines as code lines as a source code file. It was a JavaScript source file with closure annotations, type information is declared. Just use TypeScript next time, true that. I love TypeScript. It's not the most engaging read, and it's rather long. I think a lot of the stuff in there is obvious to experienced programmers. What are you talking about? Oh, is clean code? Are they talking about a book? I feel like this. What are they talking about? I'm just going to ignore that comment. Some people don't understand it, and there's a lot of I don't understand it, so I don't like it in software. This is true. This is me. No, I'm joking. I can understand it, but I do very much believe that good code is more easily is understandable, you know? Make it simple if you can make it simple. If you just can't make it simple, that's fine. It's completely understood. There are also a lot of purists that push clean code in places. It does feel like an elitist thing to me. Like this, oh, clean code. Like, who cares? Like anything else, there's no single formula for good code. It's good to know, but it shouldn't be treated like a religion. True. It's a great idea. It shouldn't be treated as a religion. And Uncle Bob has some rules that are and should be broken. I have heard about Uncle Bob. Let's see. Uncle Bob rules for clean code. Is there a list? There a list? Always leave the code you're editing a little better than you found it. That's a good principle. But I'll just end up rewriting everything, which is also bad. Never join a project and be that person who's like, oh, we need to rewrite this code base, because no one will like you. So yeah, you know, say what I say. Take what I say with a touch of salt, because yeah, at the end of the day, if you're just joining a project, you know, the realist, if you're joining a project, don't go changing things. Don't do that. Just adapt and understand. Why is clean code readable, maintainable, scalable, meaningful names? I can agree with that. Functions should do one thing. Yeah, I agree with that. Avoid duplication. Mostly. I don't think this is worth it if it causes too much complexity and hassle. Stand by that. Making something too abstract then loses its context. That's what we were talking about. Yes, dry is good. Don't repeat yourself is good. but it's not the end all in my opinion. Do it mostly. I'd probably do it 90% of the time, 95% of the time. Sometimes I don't think it's the right solution. So I don't like it being black and white. Error handling is not exceptional. Use comments wisely, yes. Don't write pointless comments that are obvious. I prefer comments that are like, not about the code itself, but like, here's the input, here's the output type thing. Like, this is what this code achieves. Assuming you mean the book and not the general concept of readable, maintainable code, I think they did mean the book, but I didn't know that. I didn't know there was a book. I mean, I'm not surprised. There's probably many books called Clean Code. This is all live reactions, as you can tell. I have not even read the Reddit thread. Why would I? Right. It's a great idea. It shouldn't be treated as a... we've read that. The coding practices are meant to make programming a legit engineering profession. But a lot of people are getting into software development who are just in it for money. Yes, I know some people like this. But most of us, hopefully, you got into programming because you liked it. Who knows? We have that privilege in our field. I feel like most people aren't passionate about accounting, you know? Whereas I think there is a lot of people passionate about software development. So instead, they just cry and make excuses how they can't be expected to know how software works all the time. I remember watching the Prime Time talk about how it would be impossible for software developers to be expected to take real accountability because it isn't possible to test the technology like an engineer. Yeah, it's very different. Like, I guess when you join, like, if you're like an actual engineer, quotation marks, like an electrical, electronic engineer or something like that, or mechanical, you probably, the risk of getting things wrong is probably significantly higher than when you write some poor code. Obviously, again, this changes if you're writing mission critical code. Like, but then I think you almost become, again, into the realm of interacting with the real world electronics, sort of like, you know, if you're a SpaceX software engineer, you're not really just a software engineer, you know? These opinions that people like the Prime Time have are very harmful and is already degrading the software industry. Probably the biggest thing degrading the software industry is AI, no? No, I'm joking. It's just a tool. But I do think AI gives... It sort of... It does kind of allow worse people to get into the field. Like, I do think it makes the best engineers even better, LLMs, but so the gap might have widened, but I think the floor was raised, or lowered, depending on how you want to say it. So I think it's allowed worse software engineers to get into the field, probably, while still making mid and sort of senior level engineers more productive and better. Hopefully that makes sense. I feel like I'm in a rambly mood today, so, you know, don't attack me too much. Which just isn't true at all. These opinions that people like blah blah blah, already degrading the software industry. White House urged developers not to use certain programming languages for safety reasons instead of just being responsible programmers like a real engineer. It isn't possible to test technology like an engineer. Yeah, this one is really bad. Software is not fundamentally different from other engineering professions when it comes to testing. You have a set of requirements that the system under the test. Maybe he's talking specifically about unit testing rather than... I think if you're working with a team and it's like, this is what the system needs to be able to do, and you've got end-to-end tests, I don't see how that's different to any other engineering field, because it's about the practical application of that code from start to finish. If your tests don't catch important edge cases in your software, then all you did was cut the last phase short. True. Although I do also believe there should be a bit of a sort of, have you heard of blameless culture? I think Facebook did that. Blameless engineering culture. Let's do Google. I think their little AI summary should give us something. But basically, I mean, I might be getting this wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I like it, and generally it's to do with the fact that if your bad code gets to production, it's not really your fault. It's that you haven't, your company or your software team, they haven't implemented the structure for the code to actually be vigorously safe, tested and safe for deployment. It's not my fault. It shouldn't, like, if you're hiring an intern or a junior, it's not their fault if their bad code makes it into production. It's not their fault. That's blameless culture. It's your team's fault. Yeah. I agree that blameless culture should be the standard in the engineering industry. Absolutely. Comfortable version. I'm going to push back here a little bit. Software testing can be prone to combinatorial explosion, where there are so many factors that could affect that. Yeah, I'm actually working on something. Where I kind of work right now, I can't say, but it's very difficult to fully test what we're doing. But we work with designers and testers. So we have a whole system and it loops back, and we do a lot of iteration because the testing for what we're doing is extremely difficult. But again, that's about creating a system that works for whatever it is you're doing, right? I refuse all the PRs where code is a mess. Fair enough. As long as you say why. People need to cure their readability or they won't merge. I am hated for this. I know, but spaghetti code won't pass with me. The thing is, right, you don't have to be obnoxious. You can have these beliefs, but I think as a developer, one of your key skills really is helping people and communication, you know. Don't make the workplace hostile, I would say. I'm not saying they are, it just sort of sounded a bit, you know, saying I'm hated for this. They probably think they're hated for speaking the truth, but they're probably hated for the way they deal with it. You need to merge because you have a deadline you are missing, have no time for missing it will teach you to write good code from the beginning. My phone is ringing. Some people like to ad hominem about the author. I don't know who the author is. Clean code as a concept is fine. Clean code by Robert Martin is terrible. A lot of what was written is bizarre. Like a function should have no more than 2 parameters. Yeah, what if you need 3? A function should have no more than 10 lines. What if you need 11? As if real life code looks anything like that. Yeah, these sort of arbitrary numbers are ridiculous. And yeah, I've not read the book. Has anyone? If you've read the book, let me know in the comments below and your thoughts on it. And leave a like. The only reason to hate clean code is if you write dirty code. I like the word dirty. I guess dirty is a antonym of clean. So I guess dirty code works. I don't agree with that his principles make the code easier to read. Simple as that. So yeah, this is a fundamental disagreement. It's a book called Clean Code. It's not the worst book, but it exaggerates quite a bit. But if you followed the literature to the letter, the code would not be clean, maintainable, expandable, or easy to read. That depends. Clean code is not spaghetti that is hard to follow. Let's see. While clean code is a nice idea, no plan survives contact with the enemy. All code is trash code. If once you accept that all code is trash, then life becomes easy. It's corny, not that deep, not that helpful. Maybe you mean a clean architecture. Architecture is where it's at. Architecture is what causes real problems, not code. We need more high-level diagrams in software development. I wonder if they teach that. Has anyone? I've not actually got a CS degree. I've got a electrical and electronic engineering degree. Do they teach sort of about high-level architecture in CS? I guess it would depend on the university, but yeah, or college. Because there's ridiculous examples. Too dogmatic. Clean code is subjective. A lot of it is preference. Where are we at? Damn, I feel like this time has flown by. It's 15 minutes of me just rambling. Easier to implement on new projects rather than existing old long-running projects. Yeah, I think if you join a project, just keep on make improvements when you can. But yeah, try and I don't be that person that comes in and says everything is trash. We need to rewrite everything, and then it's probably not even better. Just means making readable and consistent code practice. Yes, what's so bad about that? Nothing. Why do some people hate clean code? Because too many people misunderstand and misapply it. And for me, I feel like I think I can understand any code, but I just don't like wasting my time when I think someone has overcomplicated code unnecessarily. That does do my head in a little bit. It's like a bit of a pet peeve. At least in the professional environment, sometimes it's imperative that features or some fixes get pushed fast. Adhering to the clean principles code can slow things down. That's why I sometimes don't like people that are strict to clean coding. In 95% of time, clean code is the right way to do it, though. Yes. Yes. Let's see. Clean code versus clean code. Most people I've seen who are sticklers for clean code have never finished a personal project. Yeah, I feel like that's I would say there's like two types of developers, right? You have the people who like to get things done, like they're focused on the product essentially, and then you have people who are just focused on the technology. And I think you need both, but that is for me fundamentally like the two types of developers. And yeah, one of the best developers I've ever met, he just didn't really deal with anything. He was just really good at the technical part of it. He had no ambition beyond just being a software developer, which is really respectable. But yeah. Nope, clean code is basically a really strict coding guideline. Ridiculous question. Nobody hates clean code. Only people who can't code it. To be honest, clean code in general it's a bit of a, it doesn't mean anything, right? Sort of ambiguous term. Uncle Bob's ideas work well for Java, C#, but not for Python. Python already has the excellent PEP 8, yes. I used to know it off by heart, now I feel like I don't know any of them. Well, like simple is better than complex? I don't know. Rules. Don't know where to find them. DuckDuckGo is trash. No one hates clean code, yes. This is like, no one thinks they themselves are evil, you know? No one hates clean code, but they hate other things that are done in the name of clean code. I feel like this is a blanket statement that applies to anything. You can like replace, no one hates X, but they hate other things done in the name of X, and X can be anything you want. Like, no one hates pancakes, but they hate things that are done in the name of pancakes. It can be highly subjective. If it's not subjective, true, and there are agreed upon guidelines in place, then you should have tools enforcing those guidelines. Absolutely. I like to call this more a, yeah, like constraint. Constraints are good. I think constraints make coding more fun. It's like, you can do this, but it has to be done like this. Changes. Any change makes looking through history much harder. It can introduce new bugs in general. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Agreed. If those changes are purely for personal preference, then the author will be irked and other folks will have to come through these changes. Yeah. Even in the same file, if you're not changing functionality, one method, and clean up that method, you really shouldn't be touching everything else in the file in the name of clean code. Yeah. To be honest, I don't like changing things unrelated to your ticket. Even like, I'll even see a spelling. Maybe I should question myself, but if I see a small spelling mistake on like a comment in a random part of a code base that has nothing to do with what I'm currently doing, I generally won't fix it unless it makes it like I thought it would make it unreadable, but you know, like a typo. Maybe that makes me bad. Don't know. Maybe I need to reflect on that. let me know if you think I should fix typos unrelated to anything I'm currently working on in my PRs. I think the issue is with the definition of clean code, like readable, consistent practices are good, but clean code trademark is set practice that have some pretty clear and well-documented issues. The clean code is nonsense. All code is trash. Gah, you heard of paragraphs? I'm not reading all that. Sorry, my friend. What the heck does clean code mean here? I can guess, but none of my guesses will match up to the responses. Let's see. Juniors will read every function must do one thing and factorize their projects until the functions do 0 things. This is the problem with rules. Smart people will ignore the rules when they don't make sense. But people who aren't that good or that experienced or not that confident, they will stick to the rules. And then it's like, no good to anyone. Uncle Bob? Bob's your uncle. When it's treated as dogma. Clean is an idea pushing into discuss. Discusses while he uses racial propaganda. Also, the book recommended some random stuff. Some people only thrive in high energy, in chaos or high energy environments. Famously. So John von Neumann, I've mentioned him before. He's a G. I think it's actually von Neumann. I think this guy might potentially be like the smartest person that's ever lived. And he was actually a really bad driver apparently, but he just loved having like the TV on and the radio on and like a million different things on in the background whilst he was thinking and calculating, which I always found really interesting. I wish I could work like that. I think these environments are fun until you burn out, personally. I'm quite a reserved person. I like my routine. When my routine gets messed up, it sort of messes up my day. Anyway, let me know your thoughts below. Leave a like, please, if you want to see more content like this, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And let me know your thoughts. Take care.